You're welcome back. Studio Oladero is still here, and my name is Akeem Akitunde, and you're still watching the Friday edition of New Dawn on UGTV. Yes, discussion segment. Don't forget that at every point in time, the issue of border towns or borders generally is always a point for discussion. While some people believe that most of border areas are too porous, some people believe that yes, there are better security now, but things can still be improved. And don't forget that there was a time that the border was closed for so many months until it was reopened, and we cannot be shy away from the fact that smuggling still happens here and there, even though the Nigerian customs have been up and doing and making arrests and doing their best to make sure that our borders are secured, and Nigeria, as far as managing the border areas are concerned, does its utmost best. All right, but let's we have somebody in house that you'll be glad to meet, because we are looking at tackling smuggling in the nation's border towns, the Ogun State experience. And I'm glad that we have in the studio Comptroller Bamidele Abiodun Makinde, who is the Custom Area Controller, Ogun 1 Area Command, Nigeria Customs Service. Comptroller Bamidele Abiodun Makinde, good morning. It's good to have you in our studios.
Thank you.
Today.
So let me ask the controller, the Ogun State experience.
Thank you.
How have you been able to manage tackling smuggling, especially with the so many borders that we have? And I used to say some legitimate and some footpath.
Thank you very much.
How are you managing it?
Thank you very much. I'm from Ogun State, precisely from Obafemi Owode local government, just some kilometers away from here. And this is my fourth time of working in Ogun State. I was here as a 3-star officer. That was year 2000 to 2005. I was also around as the team leader for intelligence. That was around 2010. I was around again 2018 as the Deputy Comptroller Enforcement. So I'm on a terrain that I know properly. Now when you talk of borders, we don't use the term porous border again. We use the word expansive. Okay. Expansive in the sense that, well, for Ogun State, we start from Ijofi, right? We follow the borderline like that. Ijofi, Elashe, Ijom. Then you end up at Imeko. It's just that line that comes from Seme up to Oyo, to Kwara, and like that up to Kepi. So Ogun State is the gateway to the southwest of Nigeria. So the responsibility is enormous, taking into consideration that Nigeria Customs Service, our staff strength, is about 15,000 for the whole of the Federation. And in the command, I believe I have around 800 officers. With the benefit of technology, well, things can improve. But with what we have on the ground, having that experience of what is supposed to be done. So we have leveraged on that, and also having committed officers, one has been able to achieve the little things that we've been able to achieve in the state. So that's that.
One of the achievements that I read about your command is the increase in the IGR that you generated from...
It's nothing unusual, but the command is purely an enforcement area. So, enforcement. That is, we stop the movement of illegal goods into the country. When you talk of revenue, you talk of Apapa Port, Jinkan, PTML, KLT, etc., and Murtala Mohammed, Cargo and Murtala Mohammed International Airport. The command is more or less for enforcement. And throughout the world over, you cannot achieve 100% enforcement. You can only do your best to delimit the damages that is being done to the economy.
The era of, are you, I want to ask, are you assuring Nigerians, especially people around Ogun State, that the era of chasing rice smugglers, for example, or smugglers, especially when it comes to rice, to town, and to the extent of exchanging fire or shooting at them, making stray bullets to kill innocent people. I mean, one will begin to wonder, how did they cross the border? Then how come it is when they have gotten to town that you pursue them? And controller, sir, people will also say around the streets that even these smuggled rice they are talking about, who sell them? That most of those who sell them are the wives of custom officers.
Well.
Yes, that's.
Let me come in there. Let me come in there. You see, the federal government is very particular about issue of rice production. Now we have Ankoboro rice program. The federal government of Nigeria have spent more than ₦1 trillion on that program. It is being run through the instrumentality of Central Bank of Nigeria to make funds available to rice farmers in the country. One of the cardinal programs of Buhari administration is to make sure we have rice in abundance in the country. Sequel to that, there were a lot of, I don't know how to put it. I mean, it's like a cycle from one cycle to the other before it gets to the final producer in the country. We have some parts of Ogun State that have paid into those programs, maybe Meko, what have you. We have it in Kebbi, and it's supposed to be a national program. As of today, the federal government have spent more than 1 trillion, I'm not saying 1 billion, 1 trillion naira to make sure that farm implements, to make sure people access loans at single digits and whatever. Now, when you now talk of rice coming into the country, I want to tell you that that rice you see in the country, they don't consume it in Benin Republic. We have economic saboteurs within our citizens. They are the ones that travel abroad to bring in those rice. And furthermore, you cannot access foreign exchange in the bank to buy rice. So they buy that rice through illegal means. Rice is one of those commodities that was removed from acquisition of Form M. You know, when you do importation, you have to do your requisition through the instrumentality of Form M.
Okay.
Rice is not part of those commodities. Since they don't eat rice, that particular brand of rice in Benin Republic, it suffices to say that it is Nigerians that goes abroad and import it into Benin Republic and now
try to get it back to Nigeria from there.
Okay, so it's not only Ogun State, from Seme up to Kebbi, round down to Inform. They bring it to Cameroon, they bring it to Seme, to Benin Republic. From Benin Republic, they now access all these our borderlines. Like I told you earlier on, our staff strength is 15,000 for a population of more than 225 million. So we can only try our best. We are not magic.
Now, the experience of custom officers chasing them with gun in town.
Thank you. We have laws and provisions. You understand? If there is rice in your bedroom, I have the legal provision to come and pick it up. Now we are talking of the border now. We have approved routes and unapproved routes. In Ogun State alone, we have more than 200 unapproved routes. I have officers, more than 800 of them. Can I spread them everywhere?
You can't.
You may have come in through unapproved routes. But once I have the intelligence that there is rice even in your bedroom, I'm very sorry, sir.
So you have the constitutional right to pursue.
I will just wake madam. Say, madam, go this way. I want to deal with that. There is rice in your bedroom. We have the precautions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Customs can go anywhere. Once the contraband is there, I have the legal backing to conduct search on your premises. And if I find it there, well.
These goods, let's talk about these goods that at times you intercept. Large quantity of anything in big trailers and containers.
Yes.
Are we saying that it could be legal if they have all their papers, or why are they risking it, knowing full well that custom officers will intercept them? What gives them that confidence?
If I should go into the analysis for you, I will tell you, most of those rice, they give it to them on credit. Go and sell and remit the money. If custom seizes the rice now, they will share the loss. It's very sad. Some people, they go into this business. Once they suffer a loss, they go into hypertension. Some lose their life. Because most of this money, they borrow it from the bank. There is a Yoruba word.
To do smuggling.
Bomile lantern. Owolapo. Thank you. They know the implication of what they are doing.
But they are prepared to take the risk.
Well, at their own risk. But the government will not say, don't do this. The government will come out with a policy with genuine cogent reason. The reason why we don't want you to smuggle rice. We want to achieve self-dependence on food. At least you know about food security. A nation that cannot feed itself cannot stand tall in the Committee of Nations. We have food security, we have power security. Security is encompassing. Now the federal government, in its right wisdom, has spent more than 8 trillion naira on this anchor borrowers program. People have benefited. Tractors. I mean, it's a value chain.
So today, before you go in, let me go straight to this question. I just want, now, we are novice here, it's your profession. Can one take goods? What make goods taken out of Nigeria to other neighboring countries?
That's exports.
Legal. And what takes goods coming from neighboring countries and going through, for example, Idiroko without any inches, just show you. Do we have goods like that could be legal and come through?
Yes, we have ECOWAS protocols. We have what we call ETLS, and that's ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme. And there are rules, guidelines, and procedures. Like now, you cannot take food out of Nigeria because it is not enough for us.
Okay.
You cannot take food out of Nigeria. Like even Gary, you cannot do it.
There are some things you can take inside Nigeria.
If you can, yes, why not? For the sake of brevity,
okay,
you know, everything is documented.
Okay.
If you are a legal businessman, you reach out to us, they give you the list.
Okay.
And apart from that, you can even go on www, customs, whatsoever.
So those ones are called
importers
and exporters.
We have the list, yes.
Okay.
And even at the beginning of the year, when Mr. President reads his budget speech, in their wisdom, they may decide to say, okay, for this year, we want to take out rice. You can bring in rice now.
Okay.
The provision will now be there with the directive through the Federal Ministry of Finance. So it will now be removed from prohibition lists.
Okay.
So all these things are tailored, through policy formulations and guidelines. And now say, okay, for example, Iran, just a week ago, they stopped the importation of rice from India. They may have had such intelligence that works against bringing in rice from India. The past year, they allowed it to come in. But in case of Nigeria, the federal government is inching towards self-sufficiency, especially in rice production. The reason why, rice is the number one staple food. Number one staple food in Nigeria. Especially, a larger percentage of our population consists of youths. They can eat rice in the morning, rice in the afternoon, rice in the night. Now, the issue is, how do you achieve self-sufficiency in rice production? The federal government, in its wisdom, now brought up the Anchor Borrowers Program.
Okay.
So that is it.
All right, Controller, I understand that the Customs Service doesn't have too many personnel.
Yes.
And there is, how do you synergize with other sister agencies to make your job easier? Maybe the immigration, the police. And number two, how do you work with stakeholders, maybe the locals, the church leaders, the Muslim leaders, the community leaders, the KBSCs, to ensure that they sensitize their people along that border town against smuggling, to make your job easier?
Thank you. I belong to the Security Council in the state, which comprises of the military, etc., etc. Defense Intelligence Agency, correctional services. We are all together. By Sunday, I will even be hosting them for the new year in my house at Lagodimbe. So be that as it may, every one of us have their mandate from the federal government. From the federal government of Nigeria. You have yours as immigration. I have mine as customs. But everything has to do with security. So it's like a basket of wishes. Immigration controller is in charge of traffic of persons. Nigerian Customs Service has to deal with goods and ancillary services, either in or out of the country. Then we have the plant quarantine. They make sure plants that are infected doesn't come into the country. You knew about the case of Ebola. So all of us, we work together. And the summation, we call it effective border management. So it's like a structure. You are located inside. Police is for internal security, while the military is to combat external aggression. I'm very happy to tell you that in Ogun State, we have that synergy, and it's working perfectly well for us. Concerning the stakeholders, when I resumed, I made a visit. I started with the paramount ruler, Alake of Igbeland, Oba Gbadebo Ogukenu IV, Bagura, Oluofilaro, etc., etc. Now, when you talk of the border communities, What we realize is that our people take for granted our closeness to the neighboring country. They take smuggling not only as a way of life, but as something that they can do. But it's not supposed to be like that. And it will be interesting for you to know that if not for the European partition of our lands, 1884, then you discover that some of us at Ijiroko now, they have their family house at Igolo. Even my comptroller Lajogo from Imeko, when they did the mother's burial, they came from the other side because we had the suzerainty, the authority of Oniko of Ikolaje extends into Benin Republic. That was how we were before they had the partition. So you get to some areas, like my experience while I was wearing 3 stars, we'll be chasing the smugglers. We may not know that the delineation of the land has taken us into Benin Republic. So when you now get there,
where you don't have the
and
right.
I cannot go with a rifle. You just cross it, just do like this. So what am I telling you? The border communities, they're supposed to have a special status. That's why we have Nigerian Boundary Commission. So because of the nature of the border and the kind of attraction that smuggling gives to them, the government is supposed to create such facilities that will make living in the border areas better. Okay.
However, we don't have, I can tell you that these days we don't see any longer, as we used to see in those days, the convoy of smuggled cars coming to town in top speeds, especially at the middle of the night or any time of the day.
Okay.
I mean, you know that it's a cartel that is involved. Is it because of business law, or is it because the customer have come up with something to actually make it unattractive and dangerous for them to venture into such?
Thank you. You cannot bring in vehicles through the land bridges. You can only bring in a vehicle through Apapa Port, Tinkan Port, PTML, One Port, and Delta, that is Warri Port. That is the statute. Pharmaceuticals, they have specific ports through which they can enter. So that has taken away the issue of having long convoys or vehicles. You cannot do that. It is restricted. So that is that.
Okay.
All right. How would you say introduction of technology how can it help? How much of technology has been brought in, and how has it helped?
Oh, thank you very much. Now, the world is a global village. We have the drone technology. We can sit in the control room and you know what is happening in any part of the country. We are at a stage of launching some of those technologies in Nigerian Customs Service. I've attended so many courses. I've been in Madrid, I've been in Islamabad. While I was in Madrid, they have this control center. Even in Nigeria here too, FRC, road safety, they have it in Abuja. No matter what is going on in any part of Nigeria, they are watching it on their screen there. You understand? They are watching it on the screen. What we will need to have is this question like CCTV. They queue everything together. Like my officer is in Imeko now. Right from the comfort of my office, I will see those lines of vehicles. Yes. Idris, what is happening there? We have planes, we have aircrafts in the Nigerian Customs Service. Right from the office, it will just show a red dot. So no, something is happening there. It's just to pick a phone. Mr. Idris, are you aware of what is happening here? We are at the verge of launching a more comprehensive technology. Now, we have two aspects to our mandates in Nigerian Customs Service. Suppression of smuggling and collection of revenue. That of revenue, I think we have achieved more than 98% success. But coming to the Nigerian landmass, right from Semen here down to inform, it's very expensive. And you now talk of ungoverned spaces. That's what you have in all those Niger states where those bandits are hiding. Yes. So the challenges are enormous, but we continue to respond.
Abdullah, how do you dispose of smuggled goods?
Okay.
And of course, when it comes to auction, how is it done? And I want you to use this opportunity to talk to Nigerians because on social media, some of us, believe everything on social media. You have, I don't know whether fake.
No, there's a lot of misinformation.
Yes, custom officers in uniform telling you that Idiroko brother wants to auction so and so. Contact me. You can come and check.
Thank you.
So you must have heard all this.
No,
educate us.
I was at Semen some 5-6 years ago as the deputy controller enforcement. Somebody just walked into my office. He came from Lagos. That he had allocation paper to collect one vehicle or the other. I said, let me see. Well, to cut it short, he has been duped. Duped in the sense that how can somebody advertise a vehicle that costs 10 million, say come and buy it for 500,000 naira? So
it's not a manner from him.
A car that goes for 10 million, somebody will now superimpose in fact, like somebody like me, people grafted my uniform, they now change the name, they say, That's what this 419 Yahoo boys do. But with benefit of hindsight, how can you say you want to buy a vehicle of 10 million naira for 400,000? Can 400,000 buy the tires? The tires for the vehicle? Why not say, Mr. Man?
So they allow themselves to be duped.
That is it. And talking of auction, the auction has been taken off and is now online. Okay. It's online now. But when it started, I want to believe there were some itches here and there, but it ran for quite some time. You and today we go together, you bid, even from the US, you just go to the portal, they show the vehicles, and you bid for it. It's competitive bidding. It ends up with the person that bids the highest. And we release those vehicles to them. But before we can even do that, he was asking the question about how do we treat seized goods.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Thank you very much. When goods are seized, even as the owner of the goods, we will issue you notice, seizure notice, because you may want to take us to court, challenge the legality or illegality of what we have done. From there, we transmit to the headquarters. From headquarters, further action we take is we go to the court of law. High court, so to say, not magistrate. We go to the court of law for the process of condemnation. When it is now condemned by court of law, it is then the customs can auction it. It may even take up to 2 years before a vehicle assists from you goes through the process of
Auction.
condemnation. No, not auction.
Okay,
Condemnation. So you may be passing by and say, look at the vehicle customs seized from me.
You see here.
I do not have the right to, do I even have the papers? Until it is condemned. When it is condemned, it will now be sent to the headquarters at Abuja. It is then they start the process of auctioning.
Controller, let me just take you up there.
Thank you.
Can a seized vehicle, for example,
Yeah.
because it is smuggled and has no papers,
Okay.
can it be redeemed by the owner by doing the necessary things that he has not done before? Is it possible?
With legal provision, no.
Wow.
But there were some instances, maybe there was a time we were migrating from one operating system to the other. There were some itches. So this led to contestants. So the federal government gave a window of opportunity to do the clearance. It happened while I was at SEME, yeah. Like instead of saying, we gave you 3 months to clear these vehicles, noticing those itches, they now extended it to 6. So it was a window for you to
normalize
but
things.
that is different from something that has been seized. Something that has been seized
Remains
seized. That's the way it is. So the only thing that can happen in some instances, on compassionate ground, you write to the Customs Controller General, and they are treated on as you present it. And it, for example, now, let's say you have a bus. The bus is for, like, for example, BBHS.
Okay.
You asked him to go to Jiroko for a function. When he was coming back, he used it to carry rice. We now impound it. The bus is used to convey students to school. On compassionate ground, they will now write to Abuja. We did not send our driver to go and use this vehicle to carry rice. And this vehicle served this social responsibilities for the school. So the Comptroller General will now, on his volition,
Compassionate ground.
on compassionate ground, they will now write back, because we have appealed to them. They say, Makede, let me know the circumstances under which this issue happened. And I say, oh, this has actually happened. Their own case is different from this die-hard toddler that brings out cutlass and this and this to attack my officer. And I say, what? When the driver wrote a statement, he was sent to go and deliver a message at social place. When he was coming back, he used the vehicle to carry rice. Furthermore, now, this luxury buses, or this Ekenele Shuku and what have you, we kept on having these recurring problems. When they seize when they have all this sort of goods, we seize the vehicle, he has the passengers to go. So the Transport Owners Association, this one said, no, most instances we don't tell the drivers to do this. So there was now a compromise that when such happens now, depending on the degree of the goods, maybe like just 5 bags of second-hand clothing, we are given the powers to remove it and allow the vehicle to continue, so that it will not. So you can see that there is flexibility.
Okay, Controller, we are ending this section because I know that you still have another thing very quickly here. But every agency, every society, every job, every profession has its own bad eggs. What has been the situation in your command?
I wouldn't know how to put it. Bad eggs?
Like some of your officers, Definitely. Police will say, yes, they have baguettes.
Any disciplinary issues.
Okay. Let me tackle that. I'm a disciplinarian. I don't tolerate rubbish. I don't give room a second chance. I don't give it. You mess up, you go to standby. You know what they call standby?
We don't know.
You'll be reporting in the office. 8, then we close by 4 together until I will leave the area. So they know me. Everybody does his or her job as it is supposed to be. I go to patrol on Sunday. On Sunday, I work 24/7. Can you see my eyes? Can you see the stress? OGUN command is big, volatile. You have to be strong to exact authority, or else they'll mess you up.
Okay, and I can assure you that in recent time, there's no issue of mess up. There's no fuck up. And if you are not to have a fuck up, it means you have a controller that is on top of his duty.
Oh, thank you.
I will congratulate you for that. Of course, we've been looking at the topic tackling smuggling in nations' border towns, the Ogun State experience. And our guest has been the controller, Bamdele Abiodun Makinde, who is the customs area controller Ogun 1 area command, that is Idiroko Axis, Nigeria Customs Service. He came with a number of, of course in his position, he should come with entourage. You think that customs are manning our studio now as I speak. But let me just mention Superintendent of Customs, Adamu Idris, who is also on the entourage of the controller, and the Public Relations Officer, Superintendent of Customs, Hamed Bukoye Oloyede. Sunday's notes that will allow the controller to take his leave. Maybe you want a passing shot for our people.
Oh, thank you.
His message.
Thank you very much. Ogun State is the gateway to Nigeria in the southwest. And with this comes enormous responsibility. The state plays host to a lot of businesses. We can talk of the breweries at Interchange. It is the biggest in West Africa. Not to talk of a lot of other business concerns. You know, Lagos is choked up already. So, Ogun State is the next in thing in Nigeria. I want to implore the citizens of Ogun State to make use of this opportunity. I was very surprised some months ago. I went to African Foundries. Yeah. It's number 1 in Nigeria. We have 3 of them in Africa, African Foundries in Nigeria, another one in South Africa, and another one in Egypt. It will surprise you to know that all the steel used in constructing Dangote refineries was made here in Ogun State. All the steel Julius Berger uses in road construction is constructed in Ogun State. So our people do not know the enormity of the business concern and the value chain we contribute to Nigerian economy. And you can do legitimate business.
That's what I'm saying, without going into smuggling.
Without going into
opportunities are bound in Ogun
I'm
State.
telling you,
you can do legitimate business.
The moment the border was opened, people that wanted to do legitimate, they came in, and we have been having good rapport.
And they have been flourishing.
You just imagine, with the ETLS that we're talking about, people take these Maggi, Nestle products, whatever, they take it from Nigeria to across the border, and they are doing their business. You understand? And there are some legal things you can bring in from the opposite side through the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme. They bring in kola nut from Ivory Coast, from Ghana, etc., etc., and people are making money. Rice, but it just happened that, you know, our people are used to the idea that until something is contraband, that is when they make money out of it. It's not supposed to be like that.
Okay, Controller, thank you very much for that education. And of course, it's been an interesting session with you on the program this morning. We know what we went through before we were able to bring you here. We appreciate you.
Let me tell you, last week I said I know. The invitation came in, I had to attend.
Yes, you sent us, we appreciate that. And of course, for making it, you are a very busy person and it's not very easy to have you here in the studio. So we appreciate the time you are spending with us. Thank you so much. That has been to be on the first segment of the program, but Tunde and I are still here. We'll return for the second segment. Don't go nowhere. It's Friday edition of the program, New Dawn on OGTV. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you.